ready to fight from within. You're about to go behind enemy lines.
Roger, 3-2. Goliath copies all. Go ahead. Target is surrounded by multiple firms entering what appears to be a residential area. Requesting permission to engage.
From the People's Republic of New York City, you're now going behind enemy lines with Gene Berardelli and Russ Gallo. And you're now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, America? Gene Berardelli here with you. Happy New Year, one and all. Getting ready for an amazing 2016 election season. So many news stories going to be popping up through the year. Wow, are we excited here. We're ready to get going. But first, we're going to take you on a little investigation. We're going to be doing a little storytelling, and we're going to be doing a little debating. Talking about what in the world is going on in Oregon. Has anybody ever seen Burns, Oregon on a map? Does anybody really know where it is? I sure don't. I had to look it up. And even now, sitting here, I really don't know where it is or what it's all about. But here's what I do know. It's become a political flashpoint. And it's started a debate over what is a patriot? What is a terrorist? How do you tell the difference between an activist, a rebel, a terrorist? So many different interplays that we're going to be discussing. But to frame the issue right now, let's introduce everyone to the main players in this. And the main players we're talking about are the men and women, I assume there are women there, who call themselves Citizens for Constitutional Freedom, led by the son of Cliven Bundy. His name is Eamon Bundy. And, well, you know what? Instead of me telling you about him and what he's all about and what he stands for, I'm not the mainstream media. I'm not that guy. Let him tell you in his own words. Here is an interview done by the hack job at CBS this morning, trying to uncover the motivations and intent of what the media seems to be portraying as domestic terrorism. Take a listen to this.
Tell us what you're trying to do.
Well, we have a situation here where our federal government has come down upon the people. They've been doing it for some time now, and there's been some tremendous abuses. They've used the courts to prosecute and to basically take the land and resources away from the people.
Why are you armed?
We are serious about being here. We're serious about defending our rights, and we are serious about getting some things straightened out.
Do you anticipate that this could lead to violence?
Only if the government wants to take it there.
I saw an interview with one of your members who was heading there today who said he is prepared to die for this cause. Do you feel the same?
I feel that absolutely, but probably not in the way that most people will take it. I am a family man. I have 6 children. I have a business. Actually own a truck shop with about 25 employees. I have no desire to go out and to lose my life. I want to live free. I want to be able to prosper. And I know that I need the land and resources to do that.
What went into the planning of this? Had you been planning this a long time? Is this a spur-of-the-moment move? The Hammond family says you're not speaking for them. So how did this come about?
Every one of those ranchers have had to leave their land, leave their heritage and their hard work in order to make this refuge. And that's really what this is about. The people of this county are being abused. And now they're being prosecuted because they're not willing to sell to the federal government. And it's just one of those things that just cannot continue. The abuses and the damages will be too critical to allow it to continue.
Who is the enemy here?
Well, I don't really want to say there's any enemy. The federal government really is acting in the way that they were set up to act. The states have failed to protect the counties, and the counties has failed to protect the people. And so now you have a situation where the people have to stand on their own to protect and defend their own rights. So really our federalist system has failed. And we need the states to stand up and say, hey, you're not going to do this here. And we need the counties to stand up and say, you're not going to do this here, so that the people can go about and peacefully live and benefit from the land and the resources and prosper and regain their wealth across the country.
Would you define this as an armed militia who's prepared to stay indefinitely?
Absolutely not. This is concerned American citizens that are willing to stand for their rights.
All right. Ammon Bundy, thank you so much.
Now, does that sound like terrorism to you? You know, I'm a firm believer in that you know what things are when you see them. And this does not fit the mold for what a terrorist is. Further context here. For those of you who don't know, Ammon Bundy and a group of ranchers, in reaction to the conviction of two members of the Hammond family over arson charges on federal land, have taken siege over a federal building, a set of federal buildings in a wildlife refuge in a national park area. Now, this isn't the first go-round with the Bundys and, land management issues and things like that. The family traces their animosity, I guess we'll say, back to the late 80s when the Bureau of Land Management decided, without any science backing it up at all, that grazing would no longer be allowed on certain lands in Clark County, Nevada, which is away from Oregon, and they wouldn't be allowed to have their cattle graze there because the Mojave Desert turtle would be deemed an endangered species. Now, no causal connection made between the Mojave Desert turtle and grazing by cattle being a detriment to their population. But why ruin a good story? Swaths of land were taken away from ranchers, destroyed ranching in the area. But what did it allow for? It allowed for development of this valuable land by big business, by solar energy, the Solyndras of the world, on this land. And what about those people developing? Do they have to worry about endangered species? See, they don't have to worry about it. The ranchers can't graze there. But when you're building on the land and you find one of these endangered species, crack, boom, bang, you can kill them. It's a weird, wild story. And of course, we know what happened in 2014 with the Bundy Ranch saga. So you see that the people involved here are more than just everyday citizens. They're people with an issue. So the issue then becomes the genuineness of the issue they're fighting for, and the problems that they cause and create in their wake. Is this a movement that's co-opted? Is this a movement that should be put down by force? And what about all those guns they're carrying? I'm from the People's Republic of New York City. I can't carry a gun around. I can't carry a shotgun. But there are tons of legal, philosophical, and constitutional issues here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get our friend J.C. Polanco. He's an attorney. He is a friend. He's a Politico. We're going to get him on the line right now to discuss the issue. And while we're ringing J.C. up, and here he is. J.C., you there with me?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
All right, J.C. Polanco, attorney, professor, Politico, and more importantly, a very good friend. Thanks for coming on the show. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, man. A lot of success, and I hope you have a great year on your program.
Oh, Happy New Year to you, and congratulations for becoming the Republican contributor for Channel 41 Univision here in New York City.
I just celebrated my first year, so I'm very excited about it. Just celebrated a full year on. Luis Miranda's the Democrat, I'm the Republican, and we have some really good times. So tonight at 11, we're going on live during the 11 o'clock news, and we're going to be debating the president's executive order. So it's going to be an exciting topic. So if you guys want to brush up on your Spanish, put Univision on tonight.
Well, hey, listen, I got the SAP button. Maybe it works in reverse. But the reason why JC or I are on, I like to needle JC a lot, especially on social media and Facebook, because JC is a very proud Republican, and he's very outspoken with his views, and every now and then we clash and needle each other. And this issue regarding what's going on in Burns, Oregon, with Mr. Bundy and the ranchers that are there in reaction to the arrest and conviction of members of the Hammond family for arson. We've been needling each other a little bit back and forth on social media, and it turned into such a great argument we had to do it on air. So, JC, let's get into it right now. You say, and I hope I'm paraphrasing you right, you can feel free to correct me. You say that those who have taken siege in the federal property and the federal buildings in Burns, Oregon, are akin to terrorists. Yes?
Not only are they terrorists, they fit the description perfectly. I mean, and for your listeners, listen, I'm not making this definition up or trying to be cute. Gene and I are attorneys. We know the law, and you can just go to FBI.gov. These guys are clearly bona fide terrorists. But more importantly, they're no good thugs. That's exactly what they are, and we've got to stop calling them a militia. See, Gene, a militia is state-sponsored. A militia protects the state and the country, but these guys are a bunch of anarchist thugs with guns. And we really got to admit it. And I see a lot of your followers, Gene, are really putting these guys on pedestals and considering them heroes. That's a shame.
Well,
these guys are
let's
not
do
heroes.
this.
These guys are bona fide thugs is what they are.
Okay, well, let's do this. You made reference to the FBI definition for terrorism. I have it here, and we're going to break it down for everybody so that they understand. Domestic terrorism means activities with the following three characteristics. So, all three. First, involve acts dangerous to human life that violate federal or state law.
Check.
Does this qualify, JC?
I know. What?
Does that qualify?
Yes,
have there
of course.
been acts dangerous to human life?
Yes. Listen, Gene, tell your listeners what's going on, Gene. Tell them that in the county in Oregon where these thugs have taken over federal property, tell them that the schools are closed. Tell them that the county courts are closed. Tell them that people are petrified. Tell them that these guys are sitting there with guns, and they said very clearly that if the government comes and tries in any way to get them out, that they're not going to be afraid to use their weapons, and some lives will be lost. That's a threat. And can I tell you, I don't know what more proof your listeners are going to need to call these guys what it is. These are, we've seen it before. We saw it at Ruby Ridge, we saw it at Waco, and we saw it with Timothy McVeigh. So, I mean, these guys are classic terrorists, and we need to bulldoze, as you heard Joe Scarborough say this morning, we need to send a message. President Obama can't just sit here and allow for this to happen. And shame on the governor in Oregon for not calling in the National Guard. For the last year, Gene, you want to keep reading, your guys can go and check it out. I mean, it's clear. So the whole last year, go ahead. I get excited at seeing people. And you've seen the comments on your Facebook, Gene. People are excited for these guys.
I've seen some comments both ways. I've seen many comments going your way as well. But let's empower people. Let's give them the information. Point number one you say is fulfilled. Here's point number two. Appear intended either to intimidate, coerce a civilian population, to influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion, or to affect the conduct of a government by mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping. Now, one of those 3 points, I will grant you. One of those 3 points is probably there.
Oh, okay,
I'm going to give you intimidate or coerce. I'm not going to give you mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping.
Wait, you're not giving me those, you said?
Well, I'm not giving you mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping.
Oh, okay. So you're not going to give me the fact that these guys were originally part of a protest movement against the decision of a court on 2 ranchers, and in doing so, decided in their protest against the government that they're not going to take over a federal building to go against the government. And we're going to then ignore that they have weapons and that they have already threatened to no one to come over or they're going to kill them. No question about it. I don't think that I've disagreed with you yet, JC. You did. You just said you won't give me that.
No,